when you hire outside, the people inside basically want to know, why are we not good enough?
Yeah.
And if you can't answer that question, it rattles around in their head.
Yellow! Welcome to the podcast where we try to inspire better work performance.
Today's episode is sponsored by Cindy's Organizational Health Assessment. She can measure where you need to focus a little more effort on inside the company and where things are going pretty well, and you can lay off the gas. Almost everything inside can be measured. Cindy knows how to do it. Give her a call. Culsure.com, CULSURE.com brings you today's episode.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today on Management Muse. I'm your host, Cindy Baldy, and with me today is, as usual, Jeffrey Tumlin.
Yellow.
And Leticia Rodriguez.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about
Taking a
chance on people.
Yeah.
And so...
we have Leticia here because she's the CEO of a hospital that, of almost everybody we know, she has probably one of the greatest tendencies of gambling on people and taking a chance.
Well, and the gamble works. They tend to stay. So
they do.
And tend to step up and get there. So
Yes.
Yeah, but there's a lot embedded in that. So welcome, Leticia.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. How did this philosophy that we've known you for many years now is very distinct in you, that you basically almost always try to hire internally and gamble on people, even some big bets. Where'd that come from?
Well, it comes from just that experience myself. Just coming up through my career and working, started I was an adult learner, if you will, and had various jobs. And when I moved to Monahans, I think that's kind of where that whole, process started. And I had an employer who basically took a chance on me. I was very introverted, kind of quiet, shy.
I can't believe that. That is
unbelievable. Believe it.
Wow.
It is true.
You've made some changes.
Big changes.
I gotta say, I think that might be confidence, not personality.
Oh, well, then maybe a lot of lack of confidence then.
Wow.
But I remember working for him. I couldn't even answer the phone in front of him. I would turn beet red.
Wow.
I just very, I guess, lack of confidence. And he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And from there, one day he came in and said, Leticia, someone's going to come in and offer you a position. It's going to be better for you and your family. And at that time, I was in Monahans, and Judge Massey walked in the door and he offered me a position to go be his executive assistant. And it was John Fawcett who took a chance on me and gave, I guess, that recommendation. He thought that highly of me, again, saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And from there, I was, going to college and taking some courses, finishing up my bachelor's degree, and went to go work for the hospital. And every opportunity from there on, it was people, again, gambling on me. They're seeing something in me that I didn't see in myself, and they pushed me a little harder. I gained a little more confidence and, take more in, and just kept growing from there. And here I am, CEO.
Yeah, you're
11 years.
You're a beautiful example of self-efficacy, which, that's when so there's a difference between confidence and self-efficacy. So you can be a confident person and have low self-efficacy in a particular domain. Like, I consider myself confident, but low self-efficacy in singing, even though I do it relentlessly. Sorry, Jeff.
All right.
And the way that you build it is that you get opportunities to basically, challenge yourself a little bit, and you have like this feedback that comes in that, oh, I can do that. And oh, I can do that. And oh, I can do that, which is interesting that it was people who saw something in you and they pushed you, which that's management, right? Like that's what we hope people do to develop leaders.
Exactly. So with that said, I want to pay it forward. And I think that's...
You've done it.
You've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had visibility on Leticia we've known you as a CEO for 11 years.
Yes.
Yeah. And, I'm glad that we finally have a chance to have you on, because it's nice, the story you've had but we've seen you change people's lives. And so I'm glad that you were able to truly pay it forward like that.
Who was the most risky version she took a chance on?
Most risky and didn't work out, or most risky and did
Let's
work
do-
out?
Let's do both. Let's start with a good gamble.
Yeah.
The good gamble. Okay. So they're still with me today. There's several of
I
good
can think of a
gambles.
couple, yeah.
A lot of my
Yeah.
leadership team
Yeah.
is there. Again, just seeing that for me, it's almost like a little spark that they have. Just the way that they maybe show a little bit of passion in there, but yet they're a little introverted as well. Something's not really clicking in them, that they have the ability to do what I know they can do. And so it takes a lot of coaching. It takes a lot of one-on-one. It takes trust, and identifying who that person is. It takes several years. I mean,
How frequently, in like the course of a month, how frequently do you see the people you're actively trying to develop? I mean, I think you try to develop everybody continually,
Yes.
but the people who are like more in the oven than the others.
Oh yeah. I mean, I try to touch base at least, 2-3 times a week. I see them. I interact a lot with them, but formally I have one-on-ones every month. We, list goals at the beginning of the year. I have them list, what do they want to accomplish? Are they ahead? Are they behind? Are they, on track? What are 3, kind of most important things that they're working on, or where do they want to go? And we have that dialogue. I try to ask some questions, kind of like y'all do with us, and kind of build our leadership skills. And, where do you see yourself 5 years, or what's bothering you today? Or, is there, what challenges that, did you overcome? Just kind of have that exercise with them, and kind of have, start thinking outside, give them some encouragement, go through some of the projects that, they've taken on, what worked, what didn't work. Initially, when we started, I was very more hands-on on all these projects, and kind of,
I remember.
Yeah, I think I was the lead and all, and they were just kind of assisting, right? I kind of took the lead. I delegate, or I basically say, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do that. And then I guess over the years, it was, Leticia's micromanaging me, or she's a micromanager. I got a lot of that feedback, and it's like, okay, well, am I micromanaging? Or am I just, I want to get it right, or I want to make sure that, it's being done correctly. And so I did a lot of self-assessment, or internally looking at that. I would Google, okay, what is micromanaging? Am I doing these things right? Because I don't want to be that. It was like a bad thing, as I got that feedback. And so I started just kind of, not engaging as much, I guess, if you will. The tendency is, if I'm in the room, or I'm in a meeting, or there's a discussion, it's like they would wait for me to say whatever I said, then that's what we're going to do.
That's why we try to make you speak last.
Yes. Or if I had like maybe I did something, my feature, or, like my expression, or something, they like picked up on it. And so then I just stopped, attending some of those things after, you get to that point that you trust the leaders that are there, and I trust them. They, they've been with me a long time. I said, okay, we're going to do this, but now who's going to lead? And, a point guard basically for the project. And then I would just check in. What do you need me? Is there anything? Do you need me to be on the meeting? Because they would include me in the meetings. Do you need me to be there? No, I've got it. Okay, great. And so, and I think I'm a lot more hands off. Again, they've really grown because I went back and looked at myself, and I didn't have anybody holding my hand through my growth. I had to learn a lot of it on my own. Naturally, want to do better. And I'm a researcher, and I just, I feel like I thrive when there's more unknown or kind of chaos. I said, well, how am I developing them, and how are they growing if I'm not allowing them to make mistakes or fail, or kind of, do that on their own, if I'm just giving the answers or because I have that experience and they don't. And so I think, that was the best thing I did.
Yeah, I think that there's like that transition. I think initially, if you're going to grow people, you do have to give them a lot of time, and you do have to give them some oversight as they're developing the skills. But it's just figuring out like where that line is, where you start to pull back and let them carry their own water.
Yes.
And a lot of leaders don't actually make that transition. We were talking about that about somebody else in our sphere, where they have one trick, so they're a hammer always looking for a nail.
Yeah.
And we've seen you transform.
Yes.
Especially I think maybe about 5 years ago you maybe like really hit your groove in terms of handing things over.
Yeah, I would say so. That's probably
and interestingly enough, she also got a lot happier at that time period.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I always say the Leticia 5 years ago is definitely not, or 10 years ago is definitely not the same one today.
Yeah, but it's a testament to your kind of growth.
Thank you.
Time.
So it's been their growth and it's been your growth.
Definitely.
Sure.
It's not something like you came in knowing what you were going to do.
No, I mean, heck, what does a CO do? I didn't know what that role was, and it's just kind of you take the every day and kind of learn.
Talk about a gamble or two that didn't work out. And what'd you do?
So the gamble that didn't work out, it was somebody internally we're looking for that had worked in that department under, a manager. And this always, it's just hard and difficult to find those leaders that have that expertise already. You kind of, again, grow your own, and I'm, trying to do the same, have that feedback and give some goals, or, kind of find that spark. And, it's that individual wanted to do it. I definitely wanted them to, grow and be confident in their role. But, I've probably a couple years and we're still not where we need to be at. And we had a heart to heart, we said, I've got to do a performance improvement plan. We've tried these things and it's not working. So let's do this PIP, right? Let's see if we can get you on the right track and give you the opportunity to get better. If we've got some set direction here, expectations, and we're still, finished the PIP and we're still kind of not meeting the mark. And actually that employee just came to my office and said, I can't do it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to fail you, and I enjoy my job. I want to step down, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, but I just can't be that person, and I thought, that's really big of that person to acknowledge that, but yet it wasn't like awkward or weird, or he didn't hate me for it. And I mean, I felt like it was my fault initially. Like, I can't get through. What am I doing wrong? Why can't, it click, but he made a great hand. He just was not the leader. And so switched leaders in there, and the other one has thrived. We made that switch, and again, he was happy. I was happy. Mm-hmm. It was better for the organization. So.
Yeah. So, like, why this conversation matters is most people listening to this can intuit that, it makes sense when we select from inside. That gives people motivation. It gives them a chance to step up. What may be a little bit less appreciated is that in some places, it's actually, you can't just pick from 100 people for a job.
Right.
And so, as we're talking, where Leticia works is in a rural part of Texas, and it's in oil country, and so it's expensive.
Correct.
And so it's unusual. It's rural and it's expensive. Mm-hmm. And so there's an extra bang for your buck when you actually hire inside, because you're not going to have, if you're a San Diego or a Portland or a Seattle, you're not going to have 100 25-year-olds who want that job. And the second thing that internal hires do, and we see this Cindi and I in our role as consultants, because we're talking to a lot of people in the organization. There are times when you need to hire externally, get new blood. You don't have the expertise you need. A number of
Too
factors.
much of a gap between what you have and
Yeah.
what you need.
Yeah, the gap is too big. Although Leticia's pretty courageous. Leticia's unusually willing to let people make big steps. But you're right. The one thing that I'll say from our vantage point, doing this work for 20 years, is when you hire outside, the people inside basically want to know, why are we not good enough?
Yeah.
And if you can't answer that question, it rattles around in their head. And we're not unusual in this, but we see people who will get passed over and somebody external will get hired.
Yeah.
And within 6 months, they're gone.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder of, whenever possible, lean towards the inside.
Yes.
Because you're actually sending a very clear message to people. There wasn't any of you who could do this.
Right.
Yeah. And you're exquisitely good at not doing that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's hard for me to remember a time, and we've known you, like I said, for 10 years. It's hard for me to remember a time when you didn't give somebody a shot.
Yes.
Yeah. The main thing that we're saying to our audience is, go internal whenever you can. And I think, I don't mean to speak for Leticia, but your experience is one of, usually people will actually rise.
They will. Yeah. I think they know. I've been there a long time, 11 years, and there's a lot of my leaders that have been just as long in that, role or in a prior role. And so you build a lot of trust within, and that's what I have. Trust, loyalty.
You have
a
tremendous
lot of loyalty, and then they don't want to disappoint me, is what they say, because I did take that chance on them. And I'm very humbled when they do that, but I also don't want them to fail. And so I make sure that I'm always have an open door policy, or I make sure I tell them, do you have what you need? Do you need anything from me? Or if after so long, it's like family, and when they're down, or a certain expression that they have, or not as smiling like they do. And so I said, okay, something's going on here. Or again, you've got that camaraderie. And so even if it's not me directly, I know I can go through somebody else is up and say, hey, what's going on here? Yeah. Well, let's try to get them, let's get some of that off their plate, or, so you just kind of balance it out. You learn the dynamics of the team and the people, and it becomes easier over time. Again, it's a little bit harder initially, right? Because you're still kind of, you're taking that risk, as you said, but that risk turns into a great reward later. And that's what I've seen. I think I've seen more reward than really risk. And I do it every time.
I think it took you a while to get there.
It did. Yeah, it did. I would say the first probably 5 years in my career. And I think it was also based on the condition or the situation of the workplace. And, we were not in a good place. And it was almost like I had to be a different type of, almost a drill sergeant, if you will. If I looking back now, I was like, I was a completely different person. It was a different type of mode and leadership style. And
they were in crisis when she came.
It was crisis.
Yeah.
And so once I got those poor people, and, and I also kind of grew my own self, and, looking inward from feedback, or, kind of adapted my leadership style too.
Yeah.
And
it's a good reminder that, many leaders, especially she's CEO, so she's at the very top, they don't last for 11 years.
No.
But if you do, the CEO you became at the beginning may not be the CEO you're going to be at year 5, at year 7, at year 9.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a very, very stable industry and a very stable organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the hospital Leticia took over doesn't bear any resemblance to the hospital now.
No.
And you took it over with a young team.
Correct.
Many of whom stayed with you.
Yes.
and all of you went through
Yes.
a growth period together.
Definitely.
And then at some point there's a time where now you've had a few years under your belt as
Mhm.
CEO and they've had a few years in their role.
Yes.
And so all of the drill sergeant
Mm-hmm.
that was required for the turnaround will become profoundly counterproductive.
And that's the drill sergeant it tends to be typical for a crisis, and also tends to be typical when you have somebody who like you are actively developing in the early stages where they don't know what they're doing. So it's being directive. And so you had like kind of those two forces together
Mm-hmm.
where like you're just using them almost as hands initially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then eventually they become brains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think taking a gamble on people, it's great for all the reasons we've talked about, but it unleashes two things that need to be managed. Number one is the bigger the risk, the greater the fear on their side
True.
that they're not going to succeed. And then number two is when you're the person, you're the boss taking the chance on them, they don't want to let you down.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's adding even extra weight.
Correct.
Which can actually impact communication
You know,
because,
tell me more.
you don't want to let somebody down and you've screwed up.
Yeah.
You may be very reluctant and
Right.
may try to hide it even to a degree. I think you don't have that trouble because like they do see you so much and they almost think of you as an omnipresent presence.
I think I'm more like the mama.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably true. So I think that like this particular group has just settled into the fact Leticia is going to know,
Mm-hmm.
but you could see how, just a slightly bigger organization or not having as frequent meetings with people,
Oh, yeah.
you could see how like the loyalty, it would cause them to not want to disappoint you, which might cut off important information.
Yeah.
How do you help them with their fear? Like, I want to do this, but I'm actually scared.
Yeah. I mean, giving them real life examples of just myself and situations that I've encountered, or even just situations that as a organization that we encountered, remember, because we're really quick to move on to the next thing. And we kind of forget how we got there, even though it was difficult. And then I point that out. Well, if you remember, we did this and what was the outcome? It turned out okay. It may be a little scary initially. It's the unknown, of course, that creates fear in itself, but it tends to work out. We keep after it. If we do these steps, if we do these things, we're consistent, we're persistent. We can't let fear. I always tell them, I'd rather you try than not try at all. That's my only ask. Do not give up before trying. Mm-hmm. I said, if you just try it once, and if it fails and it doesn't work out, at least we tried. And they know that. They may not like it initially. And then after they find out they do it, it's like, that wasn't that bad. And so they themselves have gone through that experience. And I think it makes it easier. And then the other thing, I think I always have this in my mind, Cindi, when we first engaged y'all, and I was so bad about saying, well, it's just common sense. I can't believe they don't know that. It's just common sense. And you told me, well, it's common sense to you because you've had that experience. They've not had that experience. It's not common sense to everybody. And I always remembered after that and made sure I never said that word again and communicated the why, or, was a little, exercise more grace for them after that. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad it helped. I remember that conversation.
Yes.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a good, it's a good reminder of one of the responsibilities of managers and leaders is that we think that people aren't listening because we can readily come up with examples when they're not, but actually they're usually paying very close attention. Mm-hmm. And so they'll latch on to things that we say.
Yeah.
The other thing that Leticia's very good at, it's not as sexy as just saying, oh yeah, take a chance on people, is she actually puts resources to bear. As an example, I can think of somebody you took a chance on and you basically hired a tutor. Mm-hmm. And so, this is mind-boggling for I want you to do this job. You can do it. And then there's a little struggle. And then you're like, you know what? we're going to actually pay for you to have basically a tutor. Somebody who's done this job and who can come in and help you, and you can call anytime you need them.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of instrumental or just resource-based ways that you're not just running around saying, you can do it,
No.
and then walking off. You're putting some of the money.
Time and money.
Time and money. Yeah, investing in them.
Yeah.
And explaining those opportunities that we present to them, whether it's the leadership classes, whether it is, a Microsoft class or whatever it is that we're trying to develop, and just saying, take this on. You may, this will help you grow you. You will take these skills on. I mean, I want y'all to be here forever, right? But we know reality happens. They may have to move on, but those are skill sets that they take with them, and no one can take that away. And so, we, again, try to make sure they're going to be successful in the role that I have asked them to do.
Yeah, I would say something that is very noteworthy about Leticia is she'll take as many people as she can on the conferences.
Yes.
So a lot of times the conference will pay for it.
Yes.
And so it's not an expense to the hospital. And she'll take them all. And then the vendors will take them to dinner, and it'll be free food, free booze. And Leticia be like, come on, let's go. We're doing it. Let's have a good time, whatever. But at 7:30, when this thing opens tomorrow, we're in the chairs.
Yes, we are.
And we're in the chairs attending the classes.
Yeah, we're getting breakfast, and then we're attending the classes.
Yeah.
So that is what we do.
We have the benefit of we do coaching with a lot of our people. And so then people talk about that. And they're like, this is what happened. We had such a good time. I learned this, but I was so tired. But in that good way of people are pretty sensitive, and they know when you're actually pouring into them. And resources is a way that it's not as sexy as putting your arm around somebody and saying, I believe in you, you can do it. Like, remember the Titans motivation. But it's equally as powerful, maybe more so.
Well, it's both, right? Like, it's because there is the time element with her relationship with them, but it's also, she's good at leveraging, other funding.
Yeah.
And it is development because, they're going to classes. And so you have that component of it, but it's also that you are going to dinner and you are having a good time and you are having a shared experience.
Yes.
And so you're coming back closer than, before you had the experience.
Yeah. And so let's say I'm a new manager.
Okay.
And I've got somebody that I know is close to retiring, and I've got a couple of people who might be able to step up. And I've got lead time. I've got maybe a year and a half. What would you recommend that I do to try to prepare my internal people to the best of my ability to help them be able to step up?
Well, I think you have to first identify who of your people you feel have potential, right? Have the right attitude. I think attitude is everything. I think you can teach those that want to be taught and have a little burning desire inside to, little competitive nature.
You definitely select on competitiveness.
I do. And you have to.
Yeah, tell me more.
I think you have to, because I feel like everything, there has to be some internal reward that's greater than monetary. Because again, we go back to, we have an organization, or our organization didn't have a whole lot of money when I came in, right? And so over the years, there's always other organizations or other entities that may pay more than us, or have, a sexier, organization or new organization, or, they do some other stuff that we can't, compete or do. And so there has to be something else that drives you internally, that satisfies you, that is greater than just chasing that dollar. Because obviously we all need to work and we need to support our families. And, we do a really good job, as we stabilized to find those ways to reward them monetarily. But I think the greatest reward is having sense of purpose, and what you put out actually came to fruition, and you did that. And so I try to steer that or ignite that or see who has that, drive or ability, or, that's what they want. And I think that's what I would suggest, to look at them, because they're the ones that are going to kind of yield and grow into that role better than just, well, how much does it pay? I'll take it. It's going to pay me, $5-10 more. They're not doing it for the right reason. And so that's what my recommendation is.
Think about all the people you've taken a chance on.
Mm-hmm.
What percent from 0 to 100 would you say were successful?
I would say probably 85%. Mm-hmm. I haven't had too many fail. Again, I have a lot of them still.
Yeah,
they're with me.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say the gamble that you've made, giving them a chance, actually they took it and ran in a way that fundamentally altered their life?
I mean, I would say probably that same percentage. I mean,
most people,
most of them. Again, I think you just have to shift, why you're there, because all of us have an opportunity to go anywhere, right? And I think us also creating a culture that is kind of gives you that ability to shine, that ability to keep growing and keep being challenged, not being stagnant, and then that there is a reward. There is also some, at least monetary reward there, but that's not the driving factor. So. Mm-hmm.
One of the nice things about when we take the gambles is that it puts the motivation all the way through the organization.
Mm-hmm.
You take one person and move them up, well, their chair's empty too.
Yes.
And so that's somebody else moving up. And then there's a new hire
Correct.
on the other side of that.
Yes.
And so we're, depending on how far that goes, that's 2 people, possibly 3, that are impacted by the one move internally. Whereas internally, all those people are in the same chairs if you hire externally. And we're not anti-external.
No.
Although
Sometimes you need
Yeah,
sometimes
sure.
you need the network, sometimes you need the expertise.
Correct.
Sometimes you need a different perspective.
Sure.
Definitely. Yeah. But I would say through my career, we have been more successful by bringing them up from internally, and the percentage of my success from external is less than my success from internal. We've had some good external that are still there,
sure.
but I would say the majority of our
Your fallout is the external people you
Correct.
bring in.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to some degree, it's a little bit implied that when they're coming in externally that they're going to be maybe more likely to be looking for, at some point, looking for another opportunity, another job.
Correct.
Whereas somebody who's internal and been there for a while, they're almost indicating that, hey, this is where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's a guess on the fit when you're external.
Right.
Whereas internal, there's no fit. Guess.
Yes.
We
But it's also,
visibility.
you're right about that, but it's also like the community is also reinforcing that. Like, the people who have been here for a while and have a sense of community, many of them don't want to leave it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the flip side of that is I think it's really important when you are bringing in somebody externally, like, because we've seen this in places that we're in, it's very hard to actually build relationships in a tight community because everybody already has their people.
Yeah, it is.
And so like a big effort, I think, has to be made when you do make that decision to bring them in and make them feel like they actually have people around who care.
I agree.
If we do one more turn of the wheel on this idea of taking a chance on people, been here 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing so that there's a chance that when you leave, there can be an internal hire to your position?
Well, just again, mentoring, trying to see, I've asked that question, I have during
Of different people.
on my one-on-ones, what do you want to, what's next for you?
Yeah, sure.
Where do you, what do you want to do? And so just kind of gauging and seeing, who will succeed me.
As somebody who's been in the leadership management field for a very long time and been through a lot, give a little advice to a new manager.
Hang in there. It's a tough road. It's very stressful, but if you keep at it, you build your network, you build your people, give it your all. It's going to be some long days, some long weeks for a long period of time, but it does get better. And it's extremely rewarding.
We wanted to have Leticia on because of all the people we know. She's a gambler, and she gambles on people.
And she has incredible luck.
She does have good luck. So you still talk about the rabbit. Yep. Okay. Thanks to our guest, Leticia Rodriguez, being in here. 11-year CEO, War Memorial Hospital, the luckiest raffle winner in Texas.
Always a pleasure being your company.
Awesome.
Love you both.
Love you too.
We love you too.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Leticia.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on Management Muse. We are a podcast / YouTube channel that we hope is entertaining and educational. If you are on YouTube, we would appreciate you subscribing and maybe leaving a comment and a like. If you are on any of the podcasts listening to this, we would appreciate stars, following, comments, all the good stuff. We want to say thank you to Sarah and Rebecca. And then just as a last minute reminder, we also want to mention that we are management and communication professionals working in the field, but also have degrees that back us in science. All that being said, we are talking in generalities on this podcast. We do not actually know your particular situation. So proceed with common sense and maybe a little bit of experimentation on your end. And we hope that you make the world a more beautiful place by making work a more enjoyable place. See you next time on Management Muse.